According to a recent study, 40% of people have experienced financial loss due to procrastination. In today's episode, you and I are going to talk about why we procrastinate. I'll give you many reasons why we do. But at the end of it, which is the most important part of this episode, I'm going to explain to you when we're about to procrastinate in our mind, we go through 4 different options and then we just say, I'm not going to be doing it. Why do we go there? And once I talk about that with you, you'll get a new hack on how to minimize the level of procrastinating you're doing today. So if this is the first time you're visiting Valuetainment, this is the #1 channel on YouTube for entrepreneurs. We got over 1,000 videos on this channel on sales, entrepreneurship, hiring, firing, raising money, great interviews. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Click on the subscribe button and you can watch a bunch of other videos afterwards. Anyways, let me get right into it. Point number 1 is a bad estimation of time. Here's what I mean by this. So think about it this way. Procrastination means you have a deadline that you don't hit, right? You're like, I got to get to this deadline. It's a priority, but I don't hit it. Many times you think you have a lot more time than you really do, right? Like, think about it. You're like, oh, you know what? I got next Friday. It's good. I got so much time to get it done. All of a sudden you're like, it's Thursday. Oh my goodness. How do I get this thing done? Now, maybe we got away with it in high school. Maybe we got away with it in college. You cannot get away with it in business because again, you don't hit your deadline, you lose customers. You don't hit your deadlines, you lose millions, potentially billions. Some companies do because they don't meet their deadlines. So number 1 is time optimist or somebody who has a bad estimation of time. Number 2, you are overwhelmed because you're taking on more projects than you can handle. Let me explain to what I mean by this. I got a big staff here, a lot of people that work at the home office, a lot of salespeople, a lot of sales offices, right? And many times, if I look at somebody that every time I ask them for something, they say, yes, oh, I got it. Okay, yes, I got it. Yes, I got it. And then they don't meet half the deadlines. I'll sit down with them and I'll say, listen, you seem a little overwhelmed. You kind of tell they're kind of going like this. Oh, I got it. I got it. And they're kind of like sweating it, right? I'll say, look, I want to simplify something for you. What's that? Just because I ask you to do something doesn't mean you can't rebuttal and tell me, Pat, I got these 3 pending projects that are due today, and you asked me to do it. So which of these 3 is less important than the next request you just made? Then I backtrack and I have to tell them, oh, you know what, those 3 are priority. Do that. I'll ask this either from somebody else or let's revisit this tomorrow. No problem. Thanks, Pat. And then they go back to their business, right? So sometimes you're procrastinating because you took on way more than you can handle. That's number 2. Let's talk about number 3, distractions. What is distractions? Way too many distractions in your life. For example, this is a phone, okay? We all have a phone. But here's the question. What notifications are on your phone? Meaning Snapchat, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, text, WhatsApp. How many notifications do you have? Do you know how many of the reasons why we procrastinate is because all these notifications are on? Sometimes you just got to turn off the notifications to a lot of things so you're not being distracted with a lot of different things. By the way, there used to be a time where nobody could call their spouse at work. Nowadays, it's a little bit more lenient. It's not really that big of a deal like it used to be. People talk to their wives or their husbands while they're at work. But sometimes your biggest distraction is every time your wife or your husband has an issue, you're on the phone with them. Oh my gosh, babe, what happened? Oh, seriously? Oh my gosh, okay, got it. And then you just forgot the project that you were due by 4 o'clock today and you miss your deadline. Then you're sitting in a meeting, you don't have anything prepared, looking like a fool just because you got a call from your husband or your wife and you got distracted, okay? So sometimes you have way too many distractions, you got to lower those. Number 4, you're a perfectionist. Sometimes when you're a perfectionist, you don't do anything unless if it's perfect, right? So you have I don't want to say best of both worlds. It's more like the worst of both worlds because you're both scared of fear of success and you're scared of fear of failure. What if I don't do a good job because it has to be perfect? And what if I do come through and do a very good job, then there's more pressure on me because everybody's expecting me to do another project that could be bigger. Oh my goodness, this is so crazy. And that whole pressure of being a perfectionist, you just kind of set it aside and saying, I'm just not going to be doing it. So I'm afraid of failure or I'm afraid of success. I know this sounds weird, but some of you guys that relate to this say, that's exactly me, Pat. I understand. I've worked with many of you. You got to kind of get over this perfectionist stuff and start meeting your deadlines. Point number 5, you really don't know where to start. Imagine you are told, here's your task. You got to get this done. And you said yes, but you're not really clear on what's expected of you. So when you come back to your desk or you're sitting by yourself, you're like, what is my step number 1 or number 2? What do I do next? I have no idea what to do next. So because you weren't given clear expectation, because you didn't ask the right question, you're sitting there saying, I don't really know what my first step is. What do I do next? So because you don't know what to do next, you procrastinate. Point number 6 is low energy. Some people call it lazy. Some people call it low energy, stamina, fatigue, endurance, whatever you want to call it, is I'll give a task to somebody and you kind of know they're like, oh, okay, All right, so let me see if this is, we had a meeting the other day and I told my executives, there's a couple people in the office. If I ask for him to do a task, in my mind, I know it's not going to get done. So why do we have him over here? Well, let's find a way to rearrange him. You want to move somebody else to another department that they're not going to get the job done because every time they do, their energy is low and they're not excited about hitting their deadlines. Why are we moving somebody to a whole different department? No. We just have to figure out to realize, are we willing to lower standards and accept this kind of performance? Or do we need to go get somebody with high energy that's not lazy, that's willing to work and get the job done? Let's figure this thing out. Now, that may sound harsh to some people, but in reality, if you're in an environment that's a startup and everything is moving and somebody is low energy, sometimes you just don't get the deadlines done because your energy is just low and you got to increase your energy. Point number 7 is very simple. It's boredom. A lot of times you're given a project or you accept a project or you take an assignment or it's even for yourself and you're trying to get this one thing done, this task done, you got a deadline, you just kind of sitting here like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have to do this. You want me to pay my bills on time. This is so flippin' boring. It's driving me nuts. I just don't want to deal with it right now. You set it aside, right? Due to boredom. Now, that doesn't mean that's the right decision you made, but sometimes we procrastinate because whatever project we're working on is absolutely boring. Point number 8, your leader, your example, procrastinates, so do you. You're in an office. Many offices have a culture of procrastination, like no one really takes deadlines that seriously. No one really takes projects that seriously. I know this sounds kind of strange, but there are many businesses that are okay if deadlines are not met. They're very casual about it. So guess what happens? If that's the culture from the top and it's accepted, anybody else in that culture is okay with procrastination. Point number 9, you do not have the right team to delegate to. Let me explain to what I mean by this. So you're a CEO, you're a founder, you're a C-suite executive. Say you have 7 deadlines to reach this month. Okay, you got all these projects. And 3 of them, it's got to be your diligence on them. But the other 4, you can delegate to somebody else. Now, every time it comes down to you delegating a project to somebody, you either don't trust the individual to be able to do as good of a job as you, or you just don't have the right person. So either you got to start to learn to trust your people or go recruit and find the right people that you can trust, because one of those 2 is preventing you from delegating. And last but not least, point number 10, you simply don't see value in the project you're working on, meaning you see the project, you know you got to hit the deadline, but you don't really value it, so you just kind of say, you know what, I'm not going to be hitting it, so I procrastinate, and you set it aside and turn your attentions in a whole different place. So now that you saw 10 different reasons why we procrastinate, let's talk about how we come to a conclusion of our decision-making process to say, I'm going to go out there and come through with this and not procrastinate, or I'm going to procrastinate on this project. Here's how simple it is. When a task comes to hand, like we have to do something, our brain goes to one of 2 places. I don't know if I really want to do this, but on the other side is, I have no other choice. I have to do this. For example, I don't know if I want to wake up this morning to go to the gym. I really don't feel like it. You don't have to do it. You get up to go to the gym because you want to go to the gym and get in shape and look better, right? Now, I don't know if I really feel like waking up this morning to take my kids to school. You don't have a choice. You're their ride. You have to get up early to feed them and take them to school because it's your job, right? So somebody may watch us and saying, well, I don't know if I like the word have to. Hate to say it to you, a lot of things in life is things we have to do. No one likes to pay taxes. We have to pay taxes. No one, likes to take their kids to school every morning. You have to do it. No one likes to go pay their bills, but you got to pay your bills. You don't pay your bills, you're kicked out. There's a lot of things we have to. No one wakes up and says, oh my gosh, I love changing diapers. It's just the most exciting thing of my life. I just love waking up to a bunch of poop and diapers. I love it, but you have to do it. You're the parent. You chose to have a baby, right? So there's a level of decision-making process that has to do with your maturity level. The higher we mature, there's certain things we got to do that we don't want to do, but we have to do. So let me get into a little bit deeper. You got 4 things that happens every time you got a decision. First thing we think about, here's a decision, here's a task, here's a responsibility that we got to take up. Number 1, do I have to do it? First thing your brain will say, no, you don't have to do it. Or it will say, yeah, you got to do it, but this one you can assign to the team. We can do it collectively as a family. We can do it collectively as an office. It's a team project. I can make this a team project. Or I can delegate this to an individual to get this done, right? So no, team project, delegate to an individual, or yes, I'm going to do it, right? The challenge with a lot of the decisions that we procrastinate on is things that we have to do and things that it's on me to do that we set aside. That's when it causes problems, okay? Very simple. It's stuff that I have to do, and it's mainly my responsibility to do it, that I set it aside. Now, I don't want to really touch it. I don't really want to do this. And then the more of these things that stack on top of each other, then you have a cluster of problems you got to be working with. So when it comes down to procrastination, a few things you got to be thinking about that'll help you out. Number 1, Every time you have a new project that comes to you, first thing you do is once you accept it, make a list of what you need to do next. Listicle. So for instance, what do I need to do here? Step number 1, do this. Number 2 is this. Number 3 is this. Number 4 is this. Number 5 is this. Number 6 is this. Okay, let me send that email, number 1. Number 2, let me make that phone call to this person. Number 3, I got to get that thing back, and then I'm good to go. Hey, Johnny, can you make that phone call to Bobby? Get him on the phone. I got to talk to him about this. You're already halfway to getting your assignment done. So you accept the responsibility. You take an assignment instead of procrastinating. Immediately make a listicle of what to do. Number 2, create a reward system. If I finish this, here's my reward. Sometimes it's very simple. You know, if I get this part done, I'm going to go out there and go to this place and eat. If I get this part done, I'm going to go out there and do this. If I go and work out 5 days a week this week, on Sunday, I'm going to go out there and get myself this. If you read this book every day for 5 days, the kids are going to get this. But there's got to be a listicle, and then there's got to be a reward system added to it. The next thing is to have smaller victories that are getting you excited to develop the muscle of getting projects done. Sometimes you simply have a list and you get the list done. That builds confidence to know, like, look, even this morning I made my bed. You know, right after making my bed, I brushed my teeth. I made something for my kids early in the morning before I left. Man, this is good. I got a lot of stuff done here. It's victories. I'm getting small things done. So now when a bigger responsibility comes, your muscles being built up for this big one, you get that part done, and that's a massive victory for you. So again, listicle, number 1, add a carrot to it once you get it done. Create small victories that lead to the big one. And last but not least, the times where you have to do something that you really don't want to do. There's a lot of projects that I have to take as a company that I really don't want to do, but I know it's getting me closer to the vision. Always sell the vision to yourself and the people involved in that project. For example, guys, listen, I know nobody wants to be doing this right now. We're here at 11 o'clock at night. And we got a lot of better things that we can do than being here at 11 o'clock. I'm sure you'd love to be with your family. You probably would love to be Netflixing, chilling with your newest girlfriend. You'd probably love to be playing soccer right now. But here's what we're doing it for. The reality is this. If we get this together, this project's going to get us closer to XYZ. And you can get closer to getting your promotion. You can get closer to doing this. And collectively, we can say we were part of this project. So you do that both with your team. And you got to be able to psych yourself out too when you're working on a project all by yourself and nobody's there. If you don't psych yourself out when you're by yourself on a project you're working on that is a have to, you'll eventually get bored out of your mind and you say, you know what, I'm just not in the mood. So because the whole thing we talked about with boredom earlier, there's a lot of things I do as a CEO and an entrepreneur that's boring. A lot of things. But because the vision is so big and exciting and the legacy excites me and the history excites me, I do it anyways, based on the vision. So again, those are the 10 reasons why people procrastinate. Those are the few reasons how we come up with our conclusion on the decisions we make for procrastination, and a few hacks you can use to help you minimize the level of procrastinating you've been doing lately. And having said that, the next video I want you to watch is a video about you deciding who is worth your time or not. We made a video called Who's Worth My Time? It's a video for you to process and decipher through all the people you're spending time with to say, I don't know why I keep spending time with this guy. So every time I talk to him, he just sucks out my energy. I shouldn't be spending time with this person. This video is built for you to know how to prioritize your time. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.